Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself. But go f yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
What's the matter? Take yourself a great big bite of meat. Taste the pleasure of the highest quality pork around.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that? Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star.
But we're told that we don't like any of this because we're misogynists. We just don't like this stuff because we're women. And the only reason we're unhappy about the Rey movie coming out, because, guys, did you hear the Rey movie was canceled and uncanceled? Did you hear that?
Drew, you heard that too, right?
I did hear it.
Wait,
I did hear it.
What did I do?
You said because we're women.
We hate it because we're women.
Okay. All right. Yeah, see, now Ariel just arrived, and she's going to make sure that I remember that.
Yes, we didn't want it to come out like this, but Adam is in fact trans. He's coming out of the closet. Him and Dermy are in a relationship. It's time.
It's still there.
I didn't say that.
We want to enjoy what we're looking at. We don't want sores and fat whores. Liar! No.
Let me be as clear as I can. Ain't no colors in Scandinavia.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Hi, welcome to the round table where it's dudes' night in tonight. It's all dudes here. Dragon Lady is with family this weekend. It's just us. I was too lazy to get a guest, so enjoy us talking about stuff. Hi, welcome to the round table where we've got a good show for you today. Where I get to admit I was wrong about something. Oh my God, it's as though I can be wrong and I'm okay with it because it happens. And in conjunction with that, we'll talk a little bit about the box office, the summer box office. We'll go over Doctor Who is done, and Russell T Davies is kind of being forced to dance around the fact that it's going to be canceled when they're done with their season 2. And then we got a lot of Star Wars discussion. We will talk Acolyte, but then the question: people like to say Star Wars is dead. I like to say Disney Star Wars is dead. So we're going to go into that and decide what is the truth of it. Am I wrong, or is everybody else right when they Star Wars is dead? Because you guys know my stance. I love real Star Wars, and I will defend it until my dying days. But anyway, hi, Jed. Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about the Doctor Who stuff because similar to what Adam just said, I have to admit I was wrong. In a good way, though. I'm very happy I'm wrong, but I was wrong. And sometimes we just have to admit it, whether or not it hurts or helps our argument. So I'm excited to get to that discussion. But as always, it's great to be here. It's the small piece of catharsis we get with all our favorite franchises dying, getting summarily destroyed, is getting to laugh at them on shows like this. So I always enjoy my time here.
Yeah, excellent. Dre, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing well, gents. It's been a heck of a week, but we make it through. We make it through.
Yeah.
Been full of activity. Blade's never going to be made.
Nope. Whoa, that's something we haven't been wrong about. We've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
That thing's done.
This has been a heck of a week. A lot of activity. And I got to tip my rag to the United legitimate Star Wars fan base for taking a stand. I got to give them a lot of credit. This week, a lot of them showed out in unison. So I'm very proud to say that.
As we're going to talk about the stands, they are just resisting reality. I have a selection of Stan commentary that we're going to be talking about when we get into this. That they really think that Acolyte is the greatest thing ever, and that we're just toxic and we're hate filled, and that we need to accept that they like it and it's good even though we don't like it. It's convoluted. We'll get to it. And yeah, I gotta apologize. I've been up for barely an hour because I was up way too late last night on Saturday. So the hamsters are still trying to get the wheels running. I apologize. Anyway, all right. So first, I gotta apologize for this, but we'll say hail and howdy to the chat because that's what I'm supposed to do before we get into stuff. Hail, Goddess, and Algrim the Strong, my mods, here to keep the peace, troll me when necessary, and remind us that all good things. I have no following up for that. I was trying to riff and I didn't do it. See, I'm not awake. Hail, Kale. Good afternoon. How you doing? Hail, Ruben X, Magical Crimer as well. I don't know. I don't know if I'm a crimer or not. I mean, maybe some things I do are not technically okay. We're not going to talk about that. Hail, Masquerade. Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there and those who still have fathers. I don't. Man, I'm off to a real good start today.
Well, and happy Father's Day to Henry Cavill, who just announced he will be a father.
All right.
Oh,
Henry
good for
Cavill.
him.
Good for Cavill. Good for Cavill. And we like Cavill. We like Cavill. He's normal. It just sucks that
he deserves so much better.
He has just made a lot of poor decisions. Or his agent, the Rock's ex-wife, has driven his career into near obscurity in a lot of ways when he should be he'd be doing so much better. The man should be at the helm of a couple different franchises right now, and he isn't. And we talked about this, or at least I've talked about it. Amazon or Netflix, was it Netflix or Amazon? I think it's Amazon. Might shelve his Warhammer 40K
Yeah,
show.
it's Amazon.
It's Amazon. They might shelve it.
Well, they're only distributing it as far as I'm aware, so he can shop it around to a different streaming service.
Okay,
so it's still not dead. They're just their involvement in it might be dead.
But it's not. It's not right. It's not right that this is like his super pet project. I mean, now he has a chance with the new Highlander reboot coming up with the director of John Wick involved. There's a lot of good people involved in that, so that has a chance to
I still need to see the first one, so. I don't know if
you'll probably hate it. You will probably hate original Highlander. I know you at this point. You will probably hate it, but it's a complete mid 80s movie. Although the Queen, you'll love the Queen soundtrack. I mean, it's kind of magic. Just it is such an integral part of the movie. But I think you hate it because the choreography is not good. It's not good, and you have a Frenchman playing a Scot.
That's gonna go over real well.
Yeah, again. You literally have to have been within that era to appreciate Highlander. I get that. I mean, I have it. I have like the 40th anniversary collector's edition on my shelf. And then with Highlander, it's a very convoluted timeline because after the first movie, it breaks off into 4 different timelines between movies and television. That are just, and that I think you'd like the TV show with Adrian as another McLeod. So I think you'd like that one because that's a bunch of good seasons. So, but either way, we want Cavill to do well, and it sucks that he hasn't. So keep going. I keep saying hi to people. Hail Alpha Omega. Yes, the Acolyte sucks. Star Wars sucks. I know exactly what you're talking about there. Hail Mob 19001. The witches. Well, they don't suck because they scissor. They don't suck because they scissor. Huzzah, son of Joxer, hello. Hail Frank Blaskowitz. And anybody else watching, not chatting, we're happy to have you here on what's always a busy Sunday afternoon. We hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Hit that like button. Links are in the description below. Let's get started. Now, I was going to go saying, I have to apologize for something. Multiple times, we on this show, we talk about movies coming out, and we talk about, are they going to do well? We talk about box office. Sometimes when we're specifically tracking movies, we like to talk about, is it going to do well, this and that. And we have tracked we predicted multiple movies are not going to do well. Now, up until this moment, I've been batting 1,000. I said, Planet of the Apes, going to bomb. Furiosa, going to bomb. A couple others, going to bomb. Not going to do well, not going to make money. Well, I also said, no one's going to care about Inside Out 2. No one's going to care. Well, apparently people care. Nearly $300 million worldwide.
That is insanely impressive in the current box office landscape, especially for a kids movie like this. I have to give props to it too. This is way beyond what I would have expected as well.
Yeah, and this is Pixar and it's Disney, so this is their first winner of the year. But it does have a budget of $200 million. So it needs to get around 500 probably. And it's at a hardcore marketing campaign. They've been pushing
If it holds
Yeah.
good, probably the third week I'd say is when they start getting profit.
Yeah.
If
Now,
there's a good hold,
I think it's going to top out around 600, 700 million.
which would definitely be good profit.
I mean, it's profit. I mean, it's not
Oh
a billion.
yeah, we can make
Not a
600 million. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's going to make some money, and it'll be counted as a win for Pixar, which they desperately needed after last year and their repeated failures.
Do we know anything about this movie? I mean, like I haven't really kept track of anything of Pixar.
It's the main character girl is now a teenager, and here come the extra emotions that go with being a teenager.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
puberty, basically.
Okay, so it's like a
Yeah.
purity coming of age now
Mhm.
Yeah.
movie. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I can see why parents would be into sending their kids
Yeah.
to see that. And I'm going to assume, I don't know that, but maybe I guess it's not all that messaging nonsense in this one.
Apparently not. I haven't
Because-
heard. I've heard people saying, I've heard the commentary. The meme right now is, "Oh, look, a movie with no messaging for kids is doing well."
Oh,
That's what I've heard.
say less. That's all you need. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Keep the messaging out. Parents are going to take their kids. This isn't hard work. Just keep doing this. That's
Yeah, of course,
and the
and-
first one was very well received, so it's carrying off a
Mhm,
pretty good
Yeah,
high.
and if you before you see the sequel, of course, go see the first one. No, I haven't seen
Yeah.
either one. I don't care. Clearly, I am not the target audience. Even though I
No.
like animated movies, I don't need to be in the mind of a prepubescent and then pubescent girl.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. I'd rather maybe be in the mind of her mother, who might be being ignored by.
They
her
do
husband,
show
you know?
inside the parents. They do
Okay.
show the emotions inside the
Okay.
parents.
Yeah. I remember seeing the first
just make
movie
sense then.
once. I remember seeing it once.
Yeah, I remember liking it. It was okay. Like it wasn't Pixar classic, like Incredibles or anything like early
Yeah.
2000s, but still pretty decent.
Yeah, I remember it being serviceable.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't want to watch it because Amy Poehler was the lead, and I don't
Yeah.
think she's funny.
I
Yeah.
do not
So,
either. Yeah.
but even though I love Parks and Rec, but I don't like Amy Poehler at all.
Yeah, I don't like that entire generation of so-called comedians. I hate them all.
I agree.
But,
I
so
agree.
here we go.
Right.
This I was wrong. I said no one's going to care. People obviously care. It's going to be said, and it's probably going to trigger a third movie now, where she'll probably be going to college or some shit like that. They'll probably do that.
And if they
Yeah.
keep it up, if they're just going to make good content for families to go and see, proceed.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody wants.
And now this sets the stage for the fact that now in a couple of short months, Despicable Me is probably going to be $1 billion movie, because this franchise has been with the Minions and Gru and all that stuff. This has been a juggernaut of a franchise.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is well entrenched in
One of
the
them has
generation.
made $1 billion before, so there's precedent for it.
Yeah. So this
Mhm.
thing is probably going to, along with Deadpool 3. God damn it. I looked at the 4 and I said, forgive me. I do my best. Well, with Deadpool, Wolverine, these are the two biggest movies of the year, probably.
I will agree with that. And this is Illumination. If memory
Yeah,
serves.
this is different. Yeah,
Illumination
this
does-
Illumination.
Illumination does.
So these guys, basically, they have been regularly eating Pixar and Disney's lunch
Yes,
in the
yes, they have.
family market.
Yes, they have.
So and Despicable Me and Minions franchise, zero agenda in all that
Agreed.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
just been goofy, silly stuff.
I
And-
just personally hate it, but I can respect it as a franchise.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. Like, because Jed, we're not the target demo
God,
on any level.
I saw the first one, I saw the second one, and I saw Minions. I never saw the third one, and I'm not going to see them because I didn't hate them. They're nice little movies, but the jokes did wear thin on me after a while.
Mhm.
I can only take so much Minion babble before I'm done.
Yeah,
but-
like this is it's like always put this joint in the category of like little kids,
Mhm.
and like for like 3, 4, 5-year-old kids and their parents.
Yeah.
Like, because like when I watch these movies, a lot of it is the Minions and they're doing all the goobity gabbity whatever language
Yeah.
they speak, and
Yeah,
that's
I was actually
and I
pretty
see
close.
kids the kids will they eat it up. They eat that
Yeah.
stuff up. So
Yeah, because
so
it's
yeah,
wholesome.
but
It's
yeah,
just
it's
wholesome,
wholesome. Yeah,
silly
just
shit.
wholesome fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I think this movie will probably do very well. Because parents are going to take their kids to this, no question. And Inside Out too. Once was not on my radar whatsoever, but if it's just sticking to non-agenda foolishness, parents are going to take their kids, hands down. They're
Yeah.
going to take them
Because
So-
that's what parents want to do. They want to do
Yep.
this stuff. They want to make a memory with their family, and
Yep.
they want their kids to be entertained. Because then, when the kids are entertained, their life gets easier.
Yep, 100%.
Kids are happy.
100%.
They're not complaining. They're not whining. And then, of course, it all works because then, let's go buy merch.
Yep.
Let's go buy this. I want my lunchbox. I want my backpack. I want my plushie. I want my play set. I want my Legos. That's how it works when a franchise is healthy.
Agreed.
But so many franchises are not healthy. Doctor Who is done. It's over. It's RIP Doctor Who. You want to watch Jed, myself, and Jeremy go over the penultimate episode for the season? Go check out our Doctor Who reviews from last night, where we just scratched our heads a lot and went, "Huh? What?" And trying to break down their obvious destruction of the show. But today is one of our favorite moments. Every Sunday afternoon, we get to see the overnights. Now, Jed has already kind of teased me that I'm wrong, but wrong in the good way. Because if you've been following me at all in the past month and a half, every time we talk about the overnights, I go, it's going to be under 2 million. It's going to be 1.9. It's going to happen. At this point, I'm just sticking with it for the joke and the meme. But Jed, what are our overnights for the legend of Ruby Sunday?
All right. Like I said earlier, I do have to admit I was wrong. I thought that the final 2 episodes, the 2-part finale, usually gets a spike in the past, and that is what we've seen. So I predicted at least sticking the same or getting a little bit of a bump from what we had last week. I was very fortunately wrong, and we have the numbers here. The Legend of Ruby Sunday is officially the lowest rated overnight viewership for Doctor Who in its history. It got below Boom, which was the previous one a few weeks ago. So 2.02 million people watched this episode overnight.
All right, so Dermy has been goddamn Nostradamus with this shit.
Yes, he is.
His literal autistic retarded brain has tapped into who's watching this shit.
Well, I mean, he is closer to the target demographic than you or I.
Yeah, but even he is disgusted by this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying something. So Dermy said between 2 and 2.1. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
You go check. There's the receipt. And I admit, I said, dude, you're probably gonna be right. You've been able to predict this shit. And there it is. 2.02. And it kind of reinforces what we said last week, that maybe this is as low as it goes, around 2 million. It's gonna hover around 2 million, because that's literally who's left.
Yeah, that's everyone.
That's everyone.
And for those who don't know, this season now has 4 out of the 5 lowest viewed episodes in the franchise's history, with this episode 4, 1, and 2 just barely beating out in the 6, 7, and 8 slots. So this is a really bad season, consistently the lowest this franchise has ever seen.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We were talking about this yesterday too. The stands have kind of evaporated for this a little bit. They are barely even talking about it, as the losses just keep coming. They are, I mean, and we compare it to the Disney Star Wars stands, who are digging in. They're entrenching themselves. They're not giving in on reality. It looks like the Doctor Who stands are sort of, they're trying to hide. I think they don't want to fight this fight, because they can't deny numbers. All you want. You can have Russell T Davies, all he wants right now, trying to say, "Oh, we're getting the audience we want. It just takes 28 days." Jed, your favorite metric, the 28-day rating.
So yeah, the fans have always been telling us, at least in the recent years with this stuff, starting with the 60th anniversary, that these overnights don't matter, that the consolidated numbers shown here don't matter. All that matters in viewership these days, because of the streaming mindset of the audience, is the 28-day numbers. Only the month numbers matter. How many people watch in a month? That is all that matters. Even Russell T Davies has come out and said that is the important thing. Russell T Davies came out and said that this first episode here got 5.6 million people to watch it overall in the month period. That means 1.6 more people watched it over the month than did in this demographic here.
And just look at these numbers. It is, with the exception of the Moffat bump, which happened. The Moffat bump happened.
It was tiny, but it did exist.
It happened, but then it dropped 500,000, and you look at right there in the overnights, it has steadily dropped, and it has dropped in the consolidated after the bump. It goes down. I might get my wish with the finale, Jed.
You might. Definitely might. The surprising thing, though, is no one is talking about the theatrical release of this episode. I just looked it up now. There are no box office numbers. Of course, they'd be minuscule because they're only released in part of the UK. But I imagine those numbers would be public knowledge. And there's no one talking about Empire of Death. So I don't think anyone really went to see the theater to see these two-part episodes. So no one knows what's in Empire of Death because no one went to go see it.
If I had gotten up early enough today, if I'd woken up not too close to the show starting, I would have kind of like maybe gone to the beach and see if Jack Sparrow was making a delivery, if anybody had taken a recording of Empire of Death. But I didn't get around to that because I wanted to eat eggs and ham and a bagel for breakfast before this. So, but that's the thing. Nobody cares because we have the documentation too. This thing, Samba released its months for the past couple of weeks. It's numbers for the past week, like a week ago. And Acolyte made it on, barely made it on, but it's the only Disney Plus show on there because we got to remember, this is Disney Doctor Who. It airs on Disney Plus first at 9 p.m. Eastern every Friday. Nobody's watching this in the West. Not enough people are watching it for somebody to even register it. It's not going to break into the Nielsen's. I can guarantee in another week or so, it's not going to break into the Nielsen's. And then that means you can make the projections. If barely 2 million people are watching in the UK overnight, that means less than 1 million are probably watching in the US because the Acolyte episodes are only garnering about 2 million each. At least the premiere did. You notice when we get to Acolyte, they haven't released the numbers for who watched episode 3, have they?
No, not for episode 3. Only when they could combine episodes 1 and 2 together, did they? But like you're saying, it hasn't shown up. The Doctor Who episodes haven't shown up on Samba ever. They haven't shown up in Disney's top 10 ever. And we have the Nielsen's for the premiere. It didn't show up there. Clarkson's Farm was in the top 10, and that was a 2-point-something million watch minutes, or it was extremely low. And Clarkson's Farm, that makes sense. That's good numbers for Clarkson's Farm. But Doctor Who should destroy Clarkson's Farm, but it doesn't even register in the top 10 in any of the categories that Nielsen provides. So there's no way for us to know what the Disney Plus numbers are, besides that they're so low that they're not even getting reported. So we can draw our own conclusions from there just to say it's abysmal overseas, just like it is here.
And we could draw a definite conclusion when Russell T. Davies is now having to admit in a roundabout way, we might be canceled after season 2, which they filmed. Jed, they have finished filming season 2, right? They're done.
Last I heard, they were still working on it, but they're close, I think.
Okay. Well, it's happening. I mean, they're not gonna roll up the entire production if they're almost done. They're still working on it. So
I think they're working on the Christmas special for 2025. So they're
okay.
Very
so the season is done though.
Yeah,
the season is done. Yeah. So it's done. But let's hear what Russell has to say here. This is Park Place. They're giving the breakdown of the numbers prior to what we just talked about. But now Davies talking to Radio Times. I'm very proud of it. You know, they might not be the ratings we'd love. We always want higher, but they are building over the 28-day period, and there's the 5.6 million. So we're getting there. And then the audience.
How could you brag about that number? In a month, 1 million people watch the episode. That is not something you want to brag about with Doctor Who, because back in the day, Jure, some of the best David Tennant episodes were getting 15 million people overnight. Like Voyage of the Damned, I believe, got damn near close to 15 million. And then over the month, it was something extraordinary, like 30 million, 40 million, like something insane. And he's like, we got 1 million people to watch us. Isn't that great?
Yeah. And this is what failure looks like. And he says, this is the audience. And then he tries to, once again, parse it, saying, the audience no one ever gets are the under 30s. They just don't watch television anymore. But those figures are astronomical for Doctor Who. It's their top program in the bracket. Yet he gives no receipt.
No.
There's no
Oh,
receipt.
wait a minute. Back up.
Yeah.
Are they just saying that Gen Z isn't watching and that's why it's
No, they're
not
saying,
hitting?
Gen Z are the only people who are watching, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Is everyone wants the Gen Zers, but we got the Gen Zers. Our ratings are low, but at least we have more Gen Z watching us than any other British program right now.
but no number to prove it.
That's not a brag.
Yeah. You
Like
yeah.
my problem is this level of copiism is astronomical. Now I understand about trying to look at the glass half full, but this is delusional. This is delusional.
This
Just-
show is the glass full gay is what this show is, and that's what
Oh, most
talking
definitely
about.
that. Without it's
water
whole
in
gay.
it, though.
Even the air in the glass is gay for this joint.
And then here comes the capper. Finally, Davies reveals that the show might not move forward after its second season, saying that the future of the show is still up in the air because Disney only paid for 2 seasons because the BBC has no money, and
I don't
Sony
know why they
is not giving money.
I don't know why they contracted 2 seasons to begin with. Like, Disney doesn't usually do that. They usually piecemeal them like every other studio. So they should have piecemealed it for this, and then
You
we'd
know,
be gratefully done in December.
I have a theory. It's because I think so many people were involved between Disney and Sony and the BBC. I think it was such a large pie that they felt safe ordering that much. And also, we know that Disney believes the hype. They thought, Shooty Gatwa was a great idea. Let's go with the effeminate gay man with the flavor saver to be Doctor Who. Let's do it. No, it hasn't worked. We talked about it last night. Shooty Gatwa hasn't done anything as the Doctor in 7 episodes, 8 if you include the Christmas special.
Yep. Never saved one person, never saved one problem or fixed one problem. Defeating an enemy, the closest thing he did was skewer a goblin on a church spire. So, murder.
And in a very undoctor-like manner without even trying to communicate, which is what the Doctor always does first. Try to communicate, try to find out what's going on here and determine whether or not, okay, are you something that I need to gank? Or are you something that, is there another way we can get around this? Because the Doctor, and I say that lightly because this is a clone of the Doctor. It's not even the real Doctor. The Doctor has seen so much death and horror in his lifetime. And for a while thought he caused an unimaginable genocide for a while, that he would always try to find another way. But he doesn't in this one. He either runs and as Mom 19001 says, he cries a lot. Oh, he didn't cry this week. He didn't cry this week. He almost
first time that's happened.
First time that's happened. If you count every episode he's been in, including the Christmas episode, we don't count 73 yards because he wasn't in it. He's cried every time. No, I'm going to guarantee he's going to cry next week because people are going to be dying all around him. He's going to be rescued by women.
Well, because the Egyptian god of death, who apparently is the first god of a pantheon of pre-universe deities, is coming to kill everyone. Because that sounds like Doctor Who, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a mess. It's an obvious mess, and it's done. Doctor Who really is DED dead. There's no saving it. But as we said, we have accepted that fact. We accepted that fact when Jodie Whittaker took over.
The Timeless Children is when most people accepted that fact.
Yeah. And because of Russell T Davies, Stephen Moffat, anybody that had a chance and a promising ability to even rescue it, have committed fully to this trash. We said, you know what? That's it. I mean, it could go on hiatus for another 20 years. And a new version of a great writer, producer, showrunner, could come in and rejuvenate it. But unless somebody gets rid of the Timeless Children and everything that happened after it, there's no fixing it because the Timeless Children broke the lore. And ever since then, they've moved farther and farther away from the core tenant, and I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to make a pun there. Tenant aspects, the core foundational parts that make up Doctor Who, they're gone at this point in favor of an effeminate black gay man, a hot 20-something with great tits, jittering like two high school girls, going all the time,
And that's
behaving
their
like children.
words.
Yeah, that's their words. I'm not making it up. That is their description of their relationship as the Doctor and his companion. There's no thought to this. There's no gravitas to this anymore. I mean, perfect example. Yesterday, when we're talking about this, there's a moment, Jed can confirm this, when they have to go into something called the time window, and they're turning it on. And when it's time to turn it on, Shooty Gatwa starts going, "Let's turn on the time window." It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. And then when they fade back in, they're sharing a hug
Mm-hmm.
for some reason.
Yeah, it's virtually no reason whatsoever.
Just the
That's
case.
why everything happens in the plot for virtually no reason whatsoever. So Dre, the companion's mother dropped her off at a church when she was a baby, and Ruby's been trying to find her mother her entire life, right? And it's
Got
just
it.
kind of the side thing is I want to know who my birth mother is. Totally understandable. And there's this other random woman whose face keeps appearing everywhere they go in time and space, just as a random different person. So this little 13-year-old boy who somehow is super genius says, well, you're looking for a woman that you've seen everywhere and a woman you've seen nowhere. What if they're the same person?
What?
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
That
They
is
got
real,
to,
that's real.
somebody wrote that? That's an actual line.
Mm-hmm.
Russell T. Davies wrote that.
We're in bad shape, Lord.
The man who, once upon a time, wrote some of the best Doctor Who in the past 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Can we even say that anymore? Maybe it wasn't
Well,
him.
I've questioned. Drake,
You
I've
have to
questioned that.
question it at this point.
I have questioned, was he really that good, or was it the people around him?
It had to have
That
been
was
because he doesn't even know what an anagram is. There's like 4 anagrams.
Oh,
in
sorry.
this
Explain
episode.
this one to Dre. Explain this one to Dre.
So it's so bad. So apparently the lady whose face is everywhere, she's a tech billionaire in the present, and so they're investigating her. And her name is Susan Triad. And apparently they're like, well, if we use her first letter for first name and then Triad, that's an anagram for TARDIS. TARDIS Technology is what she calls her company secretly. And yeah, he gets berated for figuring out that the Doctor for figuring that out because the humans are like, yeah, we figured that out. You're so stupid. We already got that. Whatever. And it turns out
Gets worse.
that
Gets worse.
that's not the real anagram. There's a secret anagram that was the real anagram underneath everything. And they added letters to the new anagram. There's no K in Triad Technologies. And they're like, it actually means Sutek. Susan Triad Technology actually is an anagram for the word Sutek.
Yeah, I'm watching Dre die.
Now, let me just make sure that I'm not stupid before I explode. Anagram is when you take a word and you rearrange the letters and it means something else, right?
Yes,
like
yes.
Neo and one. That's an
Yes.
anagram, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm not retarded. Yeah, whatever they did there is stupid. Okay, because you explaining that to me made my head hurt. And Joe, yeah, Jay Frazier, yeah, 100%. I don't even know, like what you just said made my penis shrink. So I don't.
Ouch.
I don't like any of that. All of that was bad. That was all bad. That hurt.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they think they're being clever, dropping all kinds of hints. I mean, there's even one out there, and I only think of this because the god awful thing Jed made me watch for yesterday on Drive-In. I swear to God, if they steer Ruby to being her own mother, I swear to God,
that might happen.
I'm going to run screaming down the street.
Oh yeah, great. Have you ever seen Predestination? I would recommend that movie for you.
No,
Predestination?
don't do
With
this to
Ethan
him.
Hawke from
Don't do this
2014.
to him. Don't do this.
Nah,
to
never
him.
never heard of that before.
Good. Good.
Yeah, it
Stop
didn't
right
make
there.
any money. It made $43,000 in the box office in America
Oh,
with a $5 million budget. But yeah, in that movie, the main character isn't only her own mother; she's her own father and mother, and then every other ancestor. Like this isn't a gene pool or a gene puddle; it's just a gene.
Yeah.
Oh, because the way you're
Yeah.
thinking
Just
about
stop.
that,
Just stop. Stop. No more.
So yeah, that might be Ruby. Can you imagine if Ruby was her own mother?
He's their own mother. I don't. I just feel like they're that retarded that they
Just
might
not
do
good.
this. It's not good. So this is the state of Doctor Who. It's a state of Doctor Who. R.I.P. Doctor Who is the only thing that trends on X Twitter when this shit comes
true.
out. It's
That's
it's what's there because as soon as it drops, everybody rushes to go. What is this shit? I mean, here I saved this because I always want to make some sort of clip video from maybe some of the best things we said in the show, and I always want to show off my favorite shooty picture. Now, usually it's him crying, like last week with the gay man kiss. It was ugly crying. Here's my one for this week if I get around to it. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's the final
What's
shot of
happening
the
here?
basically zombie lady's reaching out to touch him and he's frozen in fear because that's the doctor now. He's just frozen. And he's not and my prediction is that his former companion who's about 10 feet away is going to save him when we restart next week's episode. And then we do know for a fact that when they leave, he'll be riding bitch on her scooter.
Is everyone that's in the creators room huffing paint?
No, but they're gay.
Oh, we got that. Oh, that we know. We know that.
And apparently father and mother aren't inclusive enough. So in the episode, they said that Sutek is the father, mother, and other of all the pantheon gods.
Yeah, get them pronoun in there.
There is no other.
Oh, and this is this was revealed by another anagram. So there's this.
Oh
random
no,
chick.
not more puzzles.
There's another chick in unit whose name was Harriet Arbinger, as an AR Arbinger, and so getting rid of most of her first name except for the H, and then putting it in it's Harbinger, and that's the primordial deities or whatever are have harbingers that they sent out. So yeah, this lady turns out to be a harbinger of Sutek because her name's Harriet Arbinger.
It's not even an anagram.
And she's working in one of the most sophisticated, highly technological, highly secretive,
more so than the
organization
TARDIS because they can
Yeah.
scan the Sutek around the TARDIS. The TARDIS doesn't know Sutek's hugging it all the time, but apparently Unit does. So, but they can't figure out that Harriet Arbinger is a harbinger.
Yeah, this is the state of the show. It really is done. It really is dead. And this is us basically having catharsis. We're working it out with each other, and we're having as much fun with it as we can. As we
That's
go
the
out
best
door.
you can do. You just have
Yeah.
fun because it's a hot piece of garbage. So just have fun while you're doing it because look, if they're not going to provide entertainment, make the entertainment for yourself. That's the best way
I
I
mean,
can put it.
now the stands are still there. Jed and I just aren't interacting with him. Dermy's the one getting all the stand hate because he was reading comments to me last night while we were on Saturday about the stands trying to tell him how he's wrong, how we're wrong about the story and this that, and it's like the if I could say this and it actually is a thing, the least intelligent of the stands are left trying to make an argument for why we're racists and bigots and phobes. And it's always funny when they go at Dermy about that. It's like, do you have no idea who you're talking to? He openly admits what his sexuality is, and that even he says this shit is stupid and it's dumb. But it's a mess. It's disaster. And frankly, let's just sit back and watch it. And so next week, Jed and I, Dermy, and special guest Bradley Burnett, Duke Devil, will be joining us for the finale, Empire of Death, and then we'll be on break with Doctor Who Cares reviews until the Christmas special, which I'm sure will be just as fabulous in all its glory.
I think that's when we get Sunday, Monday back together.
Oh God! Here's the thing. I really am surprised that they didn't make Ruby gay in all this.
Yeah, she talks about lesbians enough. She made that love song for her lesbian friends.
Because she's very heterosexual. She's very heterosexual, and I really do hope that the rumors are true that there's going to be a love triangle between her, the Doctor, and her boyfriend next year. Because that's just a whole lot of fun for us. It's just going to be fun. Anyway, you know what isn't fun? Disney Star Wars.
Oof.
It's not fun. Am I the only one here who actually sat down and watched the entire episode 3 of The Acolyte this week? Okay, yeah, I know the answer to that.
No, we're not even talking about the panel here. You might just be the only person who watched the episode.
Me and every other reviewer and 5 stands on X Twitter.
That's about it. The only people watching this show.
No, yeah. Because and actually, unlike some, I don't make you guys do homework. And I'm not going to make you do it because we're not going to actually talk about the full episode here. We're going to talk about it in brief, but we want to talk about the fallout. That's what I like to do here. I like to talk about the fallout of all this stuff. And before we keep going, hail and howdy, everybody that's come in while I've been doing the previous segment. I see you guys out there. I hope you're enjoying the show. Hit the like button because now we're going to get it. This is the meat. This is the meat of today's episode. This is the stuff where we're going to put our hands into it and move it around and throw it at each other, maybe because we're that angry.
Feces. Nice.
No, I'm not touching poo. I'm not touching poo.
Oh, we're about to.
That because the Acolyte is shit. For those who are not in the know. Well, we know. Well, real quick, Fraser, she's gonna be there, just maybe not the whole time.
Yeah, no, there's set photos of her being on, and Russell D. Davies had said that they will both be companions. Even one Doctor Who current producer, said, and we're so excited to have 2 companions in the TARDIS because that's the first time it's ever happened. It's so fresh and new to have 2 companions. Yeah, that's happened a lot, actually. I'm not kidding. Like, half of Classic Who has at least 2 companions, and even New Who has 2 companions regularly. So, yeah, they don't know anything about the show.
Yeah. And that's the gloriousness of it. But, ow, God, I swear to God, I keep hitting my elbow on the fucking PS5. I need more room. It's not enough room here. Anyway, I am not all on my game today. Acolyte really is garbage. By now, even if you haven't seen it, you know what happened this week. Space lesbian witches who are also communists and pushing the not so secret agenda. That was all there. All there. Culminating in, at one point, a lesbian dance ritual called the Ascension, where they came up with the brilliant song, The Power of One, The Power of Two, The Power of Many. And they're all doing this. Doing little Xena yells, la, 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 like shit like that while it's going on. All going, huh, 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 all kinds of stuff. And it's ridiculous. It was so clownish. I mean, I just did that for emphasis, but that is actually happening.
Yeah.
In the clip. Yeah. You know what? Screw it. I don't care. I will show it right now. Hang on 1 second. I will bring it up right flipping now. God damn it. Just give me a fucking blank one. Here we go. All right, here we are. Let me just get to it. No audio, though. I won't share audio. You know what? Fuck it. I have to share the audio because you got to hear it. So let me see if I got it right here real quick. Hang on. Let's move this over here. Professional show here, folks. Why is it?
Well, Adam,
it's not sharing the audio.
You in Chrome?
On Chrome tab. I put it on the Chrome tab. It's not sharing the audio. That's weird. That's odd. You know what? Let me try opening it. Yeah. All right. Anyway. It's ridiculous. It's bad. And it happens to be centered around changing the Force. They're altering the Force lore. And some people are saying, oh, it's not that big a deal. It is a big deal because they're moving away from the idea of the Force having a will of its own to being something you completely control. That's what it is. And Rubinex, I wouldn't be surprised if that is what it is about. I mean, it's right there.
The power of many.
100%.
The power of fisting.
Absolutely. Finger blasting. 110%.
And the power of the shocker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's going deeper and deeper into showing that everybody involved in the show knows nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
And as I said, at one point, there are communist overtones. You have to sacrifice your individuality for the greater good of the community. Yeah. They flat out say that. They flat out say it. And then there's a whole both sides, whether it's the lesbian witches or the incompetent Jedi, they're pushing the idea that children can make decisions for themselves.
Yeah.
You are mature enough. You know what you want. You just have to voice it and grab it and go out there and do it. They are pushing that shit hardcore. It's right there.
Yeah.
And that's just the agenda stuff.
Mm.
Then you, as I said, then you got the lore, force breaking the lore. You've got pretending that immaculate conception is a thing. Because here's the thing: you got Black Mama lesbian, and then you've got angry Zabrak lesbian who
Yeah.
carried these twins that were immaculate conceived by just the Black Mama lesbian, but she did something. We don't know what yet. She did something where she impregnated angry Zabrak lesbian who basically was acting as a surrogate, but it's got none of her DNA. It's only got Black Mama's DNA because the two little black babies that come out, Dre, you would love this. They are just two little black babies.
And you know how insane that was? Like, see, okay, so remove the agenda stuff just for a split second.
Yeah.
The narrative itself has got to be some of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Like the idea, just taking it for what it is. Black lady impregnates Zabrak, and them babies ain't got no horns.
Yeah,
Them babies ain't got no tribal
they have
tattoos.
no horns. There are no Zabrak features
None.
on these two little girls. On these two little
Zero.
girls who are literally sisters in real life, but not twins, and they're both going to grow up to look like Amanda Stenberg.
That maintain the same
With
hairstyle
this-
for 20 years.
16, 10 years, 10 years, 10 years. Whatever.
Beg
Whatever.
pardon.
Yeah,
like,
sorry.
like everything about this crap is an abomination.
Yeah.
That's like like even narratively, how they're supposed to be this close knit, but then the bad girl wants to just murder.
Graham, glad you said that. So, little good sister version of Amanda Stenberg wants to go be a Jedi for no reason. Because I want to be a Jedi. No reason, no actual story plugged in there. And her evil sister, who wants to just stay there and be a lesbian witch forever, when she says, I want to go be a Jedi, she replies, I can't let you. I'll stop you. I'll kill you. She literally says, I'll kill you. And then proceeds to set fire to the door using a lamp. A fire somehow spreads across the entire mountain complex they live in, which looks like a giant stone hoo-ha, by the way.
It does.
It looks like a giant stone hoo-ha. I mean, I cut a little short in my ranting on that because I realized I went on too long in my review, so I cut part of that out. But she literally throws this. She lights up a book on fire, throws it at the door, and then throws the lamp with its oil at the door. And the door, which is made of metal and stone and electronics, sets on fire completely. And they show you the electronics sparking, so I think that's their excuse for why it sets on fire.
But
then that
stone
fire,
and metal still aren't flammable, even with electronics.
Yeah, but then the fire spreads everywhere.
These people ain't good at science. Let's just get that out.
They're not good at life, Dre.
They're not good at this.
They're not
good
at
at science. They're not good. They're not good at any of this.
Yeah.
Any of this. And now look, I'm wearing one of my old Star Wars shirts today. One of my old joints. I've had this shirt. This joint has for those who remember the old Iron Ones when they have the crackles. That's how long I've had this shirt. Okay. This shirt is old. It's older than Jed is.
A lot.
Probably. Yeah, it's been washed a lot. Jed wasn't even thought of when I got this shirt. Okay.
So, probably not wrong.
Yeah. So I sat there for a hot second when I was seeing all the clips because I refused to lay my eyes on that garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at all the clips and my brain went to a very, very strange place. Now, before I get into what I'm about to say, I'm going to be as clear as I possibly can. I believe in George's vision for the Force. The Force is an energy field that penetrates us and it gives the Jedi his power. Plain and simple. Obi-Wan told us that, and then Yoda told us later on. I decided to put myself in the mindset of these psychopaths just for fun. Just for fun. About this gendered Force nonsense. And even according to their own interpretation of the Force, they are wrong. The Force is not female. The Force is male. Plain and simple. Even by their own gendered, nonsensical, foolish garbage, the Force is male. Strong female black broad went and tapped into the Force to find what? Sperm. Okay? She found sperm in the Force and impregnated the Zabrak with it. Now, I may be as retarded as a two-headed fish, but I know where sperm comes from. Dudes. Then let's take real Star Wars with Shmi. Shmi, when she explained it to Qui-Gon, she said, I don't know what happened. I carried him. I gave birth to him. I was by myself. Meaning, once again, the Force ain't female. The Force would be male.
And
so even if you take their twisted, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and to your point there, the Force took it upon itself, once again confirming George's view, because Plagueis and Palpatine messed too hard trying to create life on their end. The Force said, "Oh, you just pushed this shit out of balance. I'm creating Anakin in Shmi. It is my will, my desire to return balance, and balance being not 50-50, light overtaking dark. So the Force has a will, has a desire. It may not be a will and desire as we understand it as a single-minded creature where we have our own conscience, but it is a power, a force of nature that has its own designs. It is not something, as you just pointed out, that is affected by these people who we saw in this episode. You probably didn't see clips. You see it physically. They go, it's called the thread, and they make it a physical thread. They show a physical thread, and then they make it purple. Then they make it purple when they play with the moons and stuff. And
it's just insane. And like the fact that these people are so disconnected for what Star Wars actually is not just disturbing, it's sad. It's sad. You push this narrative and all this weird, funky, liberal nonsense that no one believes. No one with an IQ higher than 2.
I'm glad you put that in there. IQ plays a big part in this.
Yes.
These people.
Yes. You spill this nonsense and then you try to change something that you did not create. And that's where I have my problem. Like look, Star Wars has been dead for me for many, many years now. As far as I'm concerned, they're sodomizing a dead corpse publicly. That is what this is. This is necrophilia for the whole world to see. That is what they're doing to the corpse of Star Wars. So people that are saying that, oh, Star Wars is dead. No. The body has decayed. What they're doing is filthy. Beyond death.
Put a pin in that one. We're going to come back to that. Put a pin in that.
Please.
When we get to that part.
Please.
Star Wars does stuff. But the thing is, you're right what they're doing. They are taking this thing, they're trotting it out there, and they are pretending that it's successful. Because we mentioned before, Jed, the numbers they were so happy about with the premiere, the 4.8 million, which then they expanded to 11 million after 5 days. I know, yeah, the incredulity of it.
Yeah, there's no way.
That's not a win either, because it came out, that's less numbers than Ahsoka. It's doing worse than Ahsoka, and we all saw where Ahsoka ended up. Sub 1 million on Samba. And Samba can't even track this shit. So this thing's already on its way to retardation, but we have the actual, we hold Rotten Tomatoes with a grain of salt. We trust it as far as we can throw it. All these rating systems, we trust them about as much as you trust one of these retards driving the short bus. We don't.
Oh, yeah.
It's plain and simple. But it still is a snapshot that we can use for some sort of approximation. And currently,
oh my God,
it's still too high.
It is dropped 4% in the past 3 days. Now the question is, will it get to single digits? That's the question. Will next week's episode of pronouns in Star Wars, making sure there's pronouns in Star Wars, will that happen? Will it get lower? We'll find out, especially now. Also, you got to remember, next week's episode is the last one that anybody has had a preview of. There's still 4 episodes to go. that nobody's seen. And up until now, the Shills have been running defense. The Stands have been running defense using the knowledge that they had going into these first 4 episodes because they got all their previews. They saw it before we did. They had 2 weeks to prepare their defenses against what we're saying for the past 2 weeks now, since episodes 1 and 2 and 3 come out, and now 4. So they had their pre-prepared commentary. And it shows their lack of intelligence. It shows their inability to understand what the real points are. And also it reveals their fake fanness. So once we get past what I'm going to show you guys now, leading into the next half of this conversation, the following month of episodes, the remaining 4 episodes, they haven't seen them. We haven't seen them. They have had no chance to prepare their counterpoints to what they know we're going to say. I'm going to be very amused to watch the continuing collapse of the Acolyte, and how we're going to be on point because we have working brains. As Dre said, we have IQs that are considered smart. We have the ability to rationally think, rationally make an argument, and use evidence, not just be hyperbolic and scream "I'm a racist, I'm a bigot," or toxic nerd. We're going to come out, we're going to see an episode, and those of us who are reviewing it, and we're going to drop our arguments very easily. I am going to be very interested to see what their counterpoints are going to be when they haven't had weeks to prepare to counter us. I'm going to rip. But you got this right. So here's the 15% with over 10,000 audience score reviews. That's just the review bombing. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. That was the first round of argument. We saw that last week. Review bombing. Oh my God, these nerds. There's even a couple of them running around now saying, "You guys are using bots to review bomb this. You've lost the argument. The show's incredible." You're a bot. You're a goddamn bot. You just may be a bit biological, but you're a bot. Sorry. So they've been doing that. But now let's dive into these stands. I want to show you my sampling for the past 48 hours that I've collected of the stage. You're getting a couple repeats, but here it is. One of our favorites. And no, there's no Suggs today. No Suggs today. But he's
too busy praising Rise of Skywalker right now.
Yeah. He got Epic Mike's. He finally got Epic Mike's attention on that, and I commented. I'm like, yes. But then we start with this. Sorry, I had the article pulled up. So here we go. It's our fault. The Acolyte hate proves Star Wars fandom is just as toxic ever. So it's our fault that it's doing bad.
Of course.
It's the inverse article, which has been read on multiple streams already. We're not going to go through. The Acolyte isn't ruining Star Wars. You are. It's our fault because we have principles, because we have taste, and we're not gay. It's our fault, plain and simple. So Nerd Cookies, good old Nerd Cookies, who is who is usually a Dune lore expert, who has well thought out stuff, simply said this: the Jedi are good guys. The end. The clip: "I am a Jedi like my father before me."
It's not
simple
complicated.
enough.
Not complicated. Very simple. What do you think the response has been to this, guys?
Vitriol, I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah.
This sampling, one of the favorite morons out there. Sorry, wrong one. There we go. The Jedi can still be good guys and also be people with flaws who make mistakes.
Okay.
That's their argument.
But we know that already. That's not news.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's different types of mistakes too. Like there was arrogance in the prequels to a certain extent. At least in the first ones, being blinded to the fact that the Sith were coming back, or being able to be blinded by the Sith about Palpatine's rise. So there's flaws in that respect, sure, but it's not a hypocritical sense like in the Acolyte, the clip that I've seen at least of What's Her Bucket coming to the space, which is like you're training children to fight. That's entirely hypocritical perspective. Because that's what they do. So there's different types of flaws, and the flaws that they're showing in Acolyte are just evil flaws, not just, I made a little mistake here.
Excellent point, Jed. The Acolyte, as I've been saying since episodes 1 and 2, and now 3, they are crafting a picture, by they being Leslie Headland, is crafting a story where the Jedi are not good guys. And that's why Nerd Cookies posted this, because they're trying to show us the Jedi, oh, shame on me, the Jedi are evil, that they steal children and they culturally appropriate, and they're judgmental of other people's cultures if people don't. So they're setting up very imperialistic Jedi, colonizer Jedi mentality, where it's our way or no way. And that's fundamentally wrong. And Nerd Cookie posts this because people like this idiot want to pretend that this is some sort of, oh, I don't know, very easily misunderstood perspective, because you have to be broad. And now I think I have the right one. Let me just go away for a second. Let me make sure I have the right one here. Here it goes. Yeah. This particular piece of shit right here. This guy who is an out and out fucking racist and a bigot. He's an anti-Semite. He's an out-and-out everything like that. I don't like this surge of rewritten history where the Jedi suddenly weren't flawed and complacent. After decades of being the case and supported by Lucas and Filoni, it's all of a sudden wrong to state this fact. Nobody's actually said that. In fact, the response has been, as Jed just said, the prequel showed us flawed Jedi.
100%.
But flawed doesn't mean evil.
Exactly. And that's the problem. Good and evil does not mean perfect. I don't know why people look, maybe it's because we live in this quasi world where everything is acceptable and no one is wrong or whatever. But the idea that an organization or group of people that are trying to do right is being framed as evil, because the people that are now behind the wheel and controlling the short bus now want to dictate that the people that we have established for nearly 5 decades as good guys are no longer good. That's a problem. You can't just sit there and say the idea of that, just to make it simple for everybody to understand, is that let's say somebody takes over Superman and then now try to rewrite all of Superman's history to be that, oh, he's not really a good, virtuous, hardworking individual that wants to be a part of society and just be a hero. No, he's really secretly a psychopath that just wants to dominate everything and blah, 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 blah. You're going to immediately reject it because we know that Superman, though flawed at times, is fundamentally a good person or good character. This is the same thing. The Jedi has been documented as an imperfect organization, an imperfect religion, an imperfect sect, whatever way you want to put it. But their intentions have always been for the greater good. This is an organization.
Greater good. The actual greater good, not
the actual greater good. The actual greater good. This is an organization with godlike powers that still subjected itself to a government. Let's just sink that in for a second. These are people that if they wanted to overthrow the Republic, that's done in 20 minutes time. It's not even a thought. They can choke everybody just by thinking about it. But no, they use their powers for good because they are, wait for it, the good guys. Flawed, yes. Arrogant from a certain perspective, 110%. Misguided, yes. A lot of faiths are. But the idea that because of these faults that these people are villains, you people are insane for insinuating.
And it's and the whole, they want to keep talking about, a lot of them do, oh, they're taking children, they're not respecting other people's cultures. No, do you understand that a Force user is a walking nuclear weapon, essentially? That even though you need training to hone your abilities, they can still use the Force with emotional outbursts. The Jedi go out and find to make sure that you don't go to the dark side and that you learn the skills to be light.
You could accidentally be dangerous to everyone around you if you don't know what you're doing. So there is an imperative for safety and peacekeeping, like is the Jedi's creed, to get these children. Of course, the Jedi don't just like kidnap children in the middle of the night, as far as I'm aware. It's still consensual. You still talk to the parents and whatnot. And you're just like, hey, your kid's a walking nuke. Maybe we should figure out how to control that. You want to come and let him come with us?
And then there's the thing, and the EU has a history of other races, we'll just say sects of Force users that are not Jedi and Sith that call it different things, but it still is the Force. And they use it, and sometimes they are dark side users. These witches are dark side users. In the show, they have a moment where they take over Padawan, who's going to grow into dude who ganks himself. They take him over for a second, which is going to carry over to another flashback episode, which is I know is going to be coming, where he's going to be made to fight the other Jedi. These are dark side users.
Yeah.
Teaching
100%.
physical attacks. So you're the Jedi. It's kind of your imperative to make sure dark side users are not teaching dark side tactics. These aren't Sith. These are just dark side users.
Yep.
But it's the whole thing. So they had the fact that the Jedi are evil because they're trying to maintain peace the only way they know how, and with good, like Dre said, with good intentions.
Yeah.
But they are
Imperfect.
flawed. They are arrogant. They are sometimes blind to some things going on because they are so rigid. That was the downfall of the Jedi, the first Jedi Order, from the inception all the way to the birth of the First Galactic Empire. They were too rigid, too dogmatic. They didn't grow and evolve. That's why Luke's new Jedi Order was good, because Luke evolved it and it worked.
Yep.
Allow families, realize that certain kinds of attachment aren't going to lead to the dark side, when in fact it makes you stronger. It makes you more resistant to the dark side, because the compassion that a Jedi has will only grow if they're fighting to protect more than just the idea of the Republic.
Exactly.
And that is why these assholes are disingenuous, because they are purposefully ignoring the shit that was always there to make their case, but it keeps going. This guy right here, this is a special retard who I've been trying to get a block for years. It doesn't work, though. This guy will ignore me. If you're the one saying that the Acolyte ruined Star Wars, you guys would be the first ones to be talking mad shit about George Lucas for adding and changing stuff in the prequels and special edition. If I don't like something, I stop watching it. But these effing fans realize they can, and he puts quotes in fans when this guy's one of the biggest fake fans out there, only cares about everything post 2012, only cares about it, doesn't care about anything even Clone Wars, maybe too, because you called with Cody. That's how you know these guys. They name themselves after Clone Wars prequel shit like that.
Ah.
You notice that? Yes, I don't like the Clone Wars. Sue me. Realize they can farm likes and views if they endlessly bitch about how much they hate Star Wars now. It's all hollow and empty criticism, as opposed to their hollow and empty praise. Jed, you just pointed out our favorite Suggs. What does all he do on X Twitter? Isn't this? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just pick something random that's actually terrible and say, "Oh, I love this. Oh, I love that." It's so hollow and empty. And there's nothing wrong with having a negative opinion about something. A lot of people have stopped watching Star Wars. These are the people only left, are like you reviewers, or people who want to have an educated opinion when they're debating people about the quality of Star Wars, which is a good thing. And yes, these people, these same ones like you, like us even, have criticized George for some of the stuff he did in the prequels and adding stuff in the special
100%.
editions. Most of the time they're minor things. So it's more like, hey, special edition, I hated this part of it, or adding in the no. I really hate the no in Return of the Jedi.
That's a 2.0. The original special edition didn't have that.
Right, but I mean,
put it on the Blu-ray. That's the Blu-ray
still
edition.
a change that George made himself. So
which is terrible. Yeah.
You still absolutely criticize George. It's not like we think he's a paragon of virtue and nothing he did was ever wrong. We still criticize him. But what he
100%.
did, his changes are so minor, and he is the expert on it. So he can see things that we might not necessarily know about, or he has the prerogative to change things about the franchise that other people coming into it wouldn't. But we still criticize him. It's his baby. And those changes are so minor that it isn't affecting the overall universe to the degree that stuff Disney Star Wars is. Disney Star Wars is breaking down the foundation. George just added on an annex that we're just kind of like, you know what, that's kind of weird, but we'll just stay away from that building.
Yeah. I mean, Han shooting first, retarded. Stupid.
Agreed.
Unnecessary.
100%.
What do you mean Han shooting first?
I mean, no. The original joint. Stop messing with my head, Adam. Don't mess with my head.
Not even change. You know what I mean? I'm having a rough day.
Argument.
I'm having a rough day. You know, I'm not all here today. You know, the Han shooting first thing is retarded. Negrito shooting first thing. Sorry, Han shot first is right.
Yes. I was about to be like, man, are we going to disagree on this? Because Han shot first.
Yeah. Adam's having a breakdown this morning. I'm about to say, don't hurt my head like that. I'm like, yo, I'm like, Rito never shot. I'm like, don't do this to me. I'm like, yeah. But while he's having a breakdown, everything you're saying is spot on. And it doesn't even bother me anymore. That's not even the right word anymore, because apathy is set in on a level that I never thought was actually humanly possible for me to not feel anything for something I've devoted decades of my existence to. It's just I'm so far removed. And then we have people like this stand here that are just completely they have no idea what they're talking about. They think we hold George on some pedestal. We don't. When the prequels came out, we were all up in arms about where things were going, because we didn't like the direction of where things were going. We didn't like some of the stories. We didn't like some of like the dialogue. There was a lot of stuff we criticized George for that still is not acceptable to this day. Granted, compared to this, it's Shakespeare, but nonetheless, we still complained about it then. But there was still a whole lot of good stuff that he was also giving simultaneously. Yes, there were some things we disagree with. Yeah, there was a couple of things that we'll never like. But good grief, like the lore that came from it, all the games that spawned from this stuff, the action figures, all this cool stuff, double-bladed lightsabers out the yin yang, all this cool stuff.
Ray, we always hated the double-bladed lightsaber.
Man, these dang, I almost said it.
Exactly what you almost said. I saw it right there. I was like, whoa, hey,
it's not coming too. I wasn't gonna stop you, man.
Reeled in. These individuals of ill repute, they just don't get it. First of all, none of them were there. And for those that weren't even there, don't even know the history. So usually I don't have a problem with the people that aren't there. But if you still looked up and understood what was, like Jed's a younger man, but he's done his homework. He knows what has come before him. And therefore he has an appreciation for, even though he wasn't there, he can appreciate what was. That's the difference.
But they rewrite the history constantly. They constantly want that right here, the example. They want to pretend that George, like you said, that we put him on a pedestal. They want to pretend that all these things happened that didn't happen. And it gets right. Here's the one that shares a brain with Suggs. They want to they try to turn our words against us. Star Wars is dead. Disney killed Star Wars. Modern Star Wars sucks. So when are you going to stop watching and complaining? If you hate it so much, maybe you should protect your peace and just stop watching it. Feels like complaining is some people's hobby. It's called reviewing, you mindless fuck.
That's true.
It's called breaking it down and giving a straight review, because anybody watching my reviews, I don't hide anything. I show you everything. I don't leave anything out. Maybe I'll leave a line or two out, but I don't hide it. It's as objective as I can make it while complaining about it. But to say that if you don't, it's basically, if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's what they've now, they're trying to rephrase that over and over again. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Why are you still watching? Why are you complaining? You're just doing it for the hate rage clicks. No, we're doing it to show the truth. And the truth is, it's bad. I mean, I described what this last episode was. And I mean, even watching the clips, Dre knows I didn't lie. I didn't lie. It's not good. But then he keeps going. Such intense acolyte hatred, derangement. Don't notice how they want to use the word derangement now, as though they're not deranged. Cannot as easily be explained away as wanting good writing. If you're somebody who was dead set on hating the show from the day this image was released. Now, that's him subtly saying that we're all just racists and misogynists.
Why is that always the fallback? Like it's kind of like it's kind of like when you're on a playground when you're a kid. You say your mama, no, you're mama. You know what I mean? It's like that's the instant fallback of I have no retort. I have absolutely no retort, and like, hey, I have no thought process in my brain to actually analyze why these people would dislike this product. So I'm just going to say they're all racist, so then everybody will agree with me. No, that's not it. Because I know quite a few people that are non-white, non-male that are saying the same things. Oh, like everybody, like the Star Wars fandom in unison, the ones that non-Disney Star Wars fans in unison are basically just saying like, yo, this is garbage. And every single argument I've seen of people that are saying that this is garbage never once mentioned somebody's race, color, creed, none of that stuff. It's just literally, hey, this is trash. This is poorly written. This joint looks like it was made on a soundstage at a high school musical. Like these are the criticisms that are coming down. Not one criticism is, man, I hate that black girl, or oh, I hate that Asian. Like that's not a thing. Nerds don't care about somebody's race, color, or creed. We don't care. We don't care if you're engaging the X Division Championship.
We don't care, but we will make fun of it when that's all you're pushing in the show. That's all they want to do is push at you. That's why we're talking about the sexuality, because that's what Leslie Headland wants to do.
And that's what you're pushing in front of us. That's what you're advertising. You're advertising, look at these space lesbians. I'm not interested in space lesbians. I'm interested in a good Star Wars story. How dare you? I'm like, no, I came for Star Wars. If I want to see space lesbians, there's plenty of stuff on the hub that I can check out.
Yeah, I mean, let's go through this. One, okay, Amanda Stenberg she's not a good actress. I haven't complained once that she's black in the show. I've complained she's not a good actress, and they hypersexualized her character already. I am flexible.
Really?
I'm really flexible. It's like at one point with Daphne Keene's character, who is a good actress, I've watched her in a number of things. She can act, but saying I'm really flexible. I mean, it's right there, and everybody thirsty over that scene. This poor dude.
Is she supposed to be? I'm sorry, Adam. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But is she supposed to be young in this show?
She's a Padawan.
Oh
no, Daphne Keene.
Yeah, Daphne Keene. Yeah, she's supposed to be young.
She's some half-breed alien Padawan that they're all thirsting over too. They think, oh my God, she's so great, women.
Okay, because I thought that she was supposed to be I mean, she's a Padawan, so obviously she's playing a young character. Yeah. So I didn't know if this was supposed to be some type of under 18 thing.
I don't think so, but they have an interaction in episode 2 where clearly she's talking about how sexually flexible she is, and she smiles at her.
I got you.
So, all right, then we got poor Master Squid Game, who learned English to be in this show, who didn't know, and it shows. I mean, the guy may be a good actor in Korea, but he can barely speak English.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle. Even the best American actor, if they went over to Korea and learned Korean to be in a Korean film, it's going to be awful.
Yeah. And
from what I've heard, like he's the best thing in this show.
Well,
it's not saying much.
Yeah, that's not
he can. People saying, and I agree with it. He can emote better than anybody else on the show can, but that's about it, because his lines are a struggle, because he has only when he did this, because this show's been on the shelf for like a year. It was done for a year when he'd only learned English a few months before. I mean, great for him being able to speak like that, but it doesn't work as far as a performance. And you have to be objectively able to say that and not worrying about being called a racist. It's just an objective commentary that everybody agrees on with a brain. All right, this dude, he's barely been in it, so I have no commentary for him. Daphne Keene, already mentioned, good actress. It's a shame that she's saddled with this thing and that she's drinking the Kool-Aid, or at least pushing it, trying to pretend everything's okay. This is gay black mama lesbian who impregnated angry horned Zabrak. So I mean, she is terrible. She's terrible in the show. She's not good. She isn't good. And her deep thoughts on this when asked about the show, mother is mothering.
Oh God.
That's her deep thoughts.
It's very deep. It's very deep.
Shallow deep. Oh, and here's Leslie Headland's wife.
Yeah, didn't get hired based on her talent, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
At least not in her acting talent, if you know what I mean.
Ooh. Well, hey, listen, the fact that Leslie Headland is probably cheating on her with Amanda Stenberg, hey, it's a theory. It's a theory. Look at their body language and tell me
that's the same thing when you see Russell T Davies and Shooter Gatwa together. You know that there's something creepy.
Wait, is Amanda Stenberg? She's a lesbian.
She's non-binary, Dre. Yet walking around in dresses with her titties all hanging out.
Yeah, they them. I think.
Don't tell me that Amanda Stenberg and Leslie Headland are not playing the power of one, the power of two, the power of many with each other. Don't tell me they're not playing that game.
I totally believe that there was a Weinstein casting couch involved.
She learned from the best. So Rebecca Henderson, Leslie Headland's wife, cannot act. According to a recent article, The Hollywood Reporter did her homework reading lots of High Republic to get ready for this. Thank you. That's the response I needed. So that's the response. Leslie Headland's wife. That's our response. Nepotism. All right, this dude, the Yord Horde. I'm going to bring this one up in a minute. The corporate manufactured meme surrounding this guy who thinks, as I pointed out earlier, thinks Anakin killed the Death Star. When Anakin killed the Death Star, that's the meme. And their whole argument, you guys love this one. Well, haven't you ever, oh my God, these chuds, these toxic nerds, they're going to freak out when they hear what Harrison Ford and the late Sir Alec Guinness thought of Star Wars. Motherfuckers, we've known what they thought for Star Wars for 40 years.
Decades.
Alec Guinness, it was just an acting job.
Yep.
That's all it was. We knew it back then.
And he was hired because he had the most acting chops on set.
He was Sir Alec Guinness.
And there's a big difference from coming into a non-existent franchise and being an actor in it. There's a massive difference because there's nothing to do research on. There's nothing to get invested in or be a fan of previously. So yeah, if they'd come into the prequels like that with that attitude, that would have been a problem. But they were in the original, so they had nothing to be fans of. Mace Windu, Samuel Jackson, he was clearly a fan coming into that. That's a positive way of looking at it.
He kept that prop lightsaber for years till he gave it to Brie Larson for some god-awful reason.
Sure did.
And Harrison Ford. The biggest open secret of the entire Star Wars fandom, franchise, and actors that he wanted Han Solo to die. Everybody knows this, that he hates Han Solo, loves Indiana Jones. Everybody knows this. Famous. I don't know. I don't care. It's famous. And you know what? We accept it because curmudgeon Harrison Ford. It's funny.
Yep.
It's funny.
Yes, it is.
Because he doesn't give a shit.
Yep. And he has never swayed. Never swayed in it.
Never. He sold his likeness for covers and artwork, and that was it. Because he made lots of money as an actual movie star, unlike Mark Hamill. He made actual money as an actual career and will go down as one of the best action heroes, best dramatic actors of his generation.
Agreed.
And we don't care. And also with the memes, can't fly a plane while high, crashing by me. The Harrison Ford lore is well known for his entire career and everything. But they act like we don't know this shit. Like, oh, the chuds are going to get owned in this. No, we know. And we accept it. And we know, as Jed and I talked about last year when we reviewed Return of the Jedi for Drive-In, Harrison Ford phoned it the fuck in for Return of the Jedi.
He did, because he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
He wanted to be dead after Empire. Hence why he wanted the Carbonite to be killed off.
Yeah. He phoned it in. He phoned it in, but it was still good because he's Harrison freaking Ford. It was still good. But he phoned it in. Like Carrie Ann Moss phoned it in this show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He phoned it in. But it doesn't matter. We get it. We know it. We understand. We still love it. This guy, he's an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a bad actor. Some people said, oh, he's a good actor. No, he's a horrible actor. And what I love is the whole Yord Horde, the manufactured meme, the thirst they're having over this guy. Do they all realize in 5 episodes he's probably going to be dead? Everybody here, all these characters, a couple of them are already dead. They're all going to die. They're all going to get massacred. It's the only way any of this show makes sense.
I don't think they care about making sense. So I wouldn't be surprised if several of them survive because they don't even realize the Sith haven't been seen in thousands of years thing from the prequels.
I know.
I think you're giving them too much credit, which is really saying something.
I know, but you understand my point. And then this is the guy that has had all of 2 lines in this show.
Had the worst prosthetic beard I've ever seen.
And
it's bad that he after Game of Thrones, you never thought he'd have a more embarrassing role if you know who he was in Game of Thrones.
I don't even know that because I didn't watch Game of Thrones. So, and then Carrie Ann Moss, who they've actually said that Oh, they weren't. Everybody complained about her in the Matrix. Motherfucker, we wanted to bang the fucking living shit out of her. In the
Yeah,
Matrix.
who complained about her in the Matrix? Maybe
that's-
the newest one.
That's the Stan revisionist history, though.
These people don't know any. These people weren't there.
Do they have any idea how hard we lusted after her in that leather outfit?
Yes.
Do they have any idea?
Yes.
For
Yes.
about a 3-4 year period, she was a sexual icon.
100%.
2-3 years.
100%. I did unspeakable things.
Yes, so did I. So
Unspeakable.
did I. I will not lie. So we just criticized them on their abilities and their reactions to shit. Nothing about their color. Nothing about their gender. It's about their performances, about this. But this dumbass has to paint the picture that we're all more racist, more bigots, more homophobes in order to get his point across. And then we get one more here, just as an example. Another one of the people who want to say that they can't be good guys, blah, blah, blah. I should have included this one earlier. They're all falling apart. And then, Dre, I'm happy you're here. Because you're black. You're black.
Oh, that I am.
You're black.
Really?
And
Believe it or not, Jared, believe it or not.
Wow.
And I guess,
didn't notice.
Something about, the black hip hop community. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to be stereotypical and think, something. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many gets a single by some chick called Victoria Monet that got released the other day. And you don't even know who this is, do you?
Who is?
I don't know.
Who is black woman?
I don't know. She won a Grammy, I think. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But but you just made my point, and I kind of figured it would be this going in. That's why I prepped us. Nobody knows who this is. Nobody knows who this.
No clue.
But the stands can't wait. Here it comes. So excited. It's gonna be a banger. It's so hard. It dropped hard. And they're showing their clips like they've got it. They bought it. They're listening to it over and over again. It's so cool that we got an actual pop star to do stuff for Star Wars. It's so great.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who gives a sorry toss who this black lady is? Now look.
Yeah.
I maybe she's a great musical artist. Look, I haven't listened to new music in decades, so I'm the wrong guy. But look, if this young lady, for what I know, she is not famous. If she found an opportunity to make music for a garbage show to get paid a handsome amount of money, baby, do your thing. I ain't about to stop nobody from getting the bag.
I listened to a couple seconds of it. I can't play it because we'll get hit.
Of course.
It's not good. It's not good.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all. You know why?
I can almost guarantee the George Lucas special edition musical scene in Return of the Jedi has better music than what she makes.
I'm sure it is. I
will
guarantee it does.
Listen,
I'm 100% certain.
I like, for all its cringy horribleness, I like the special edition Jabba Palace, Max Rebo Band, CGI. I like it for all its cringiness.
I think it does make sense to show the depravity of the Hutt society.
Yeah. It's so bad. That's that thing we were talking about the other day, Jed. It's so bad it's good.
Like Predestination.
No, that's different. It's so cringy that it's humorous. Yub Nub was so cheesy, it was fun.
Yep.
This is marketing something to people who aren't there.
There's no audience for this. So I don't know. So okay, here's the kicker. Are all those folks in the comments are saying, "Oh yeah, I can't wait"? Are they buying her single? Or are they going to sit there and just say, "You go, girl," and then go on about their day?
I think it's a combination of both. I think there's some who will, but then they'll give it to others who will pirate it, and then the others won't even buy it or listen to it. They'll just go, "Oh my God, yes, queen."
Do you know what this reminds me of, Adam?
What?
The Goblin song from the Christmas episode from Doctor Who. Everyone acting like it's going to be the biggest thing ever, and it did trend for a little bit, but no one actually bought it.
This thing isn't even trending. It's not even trending. It isn't. It isn't. It's not at all. And let me just bring this down for a second as I swap something out.
Since you've heard a little bit of it, is it as bad as the Goblin song?
No, because the Goblin song is just something they made for that show. This thing has actually got. It sounds like modern day rhythm hip hop.
Now we're going backwards.
Yeah.
Now we're going back.
And I already got blocked or semi-blocked over somebody for commenting, but just the one thing I like to bring up here is this right here. As I mentioned, this is their defense. They want to pretend that all this shit is real, that it's this, that we're all just haters and that. And here's the Yord Horde guy. And I'm not going to show the audio, Wistar, but just look at what he does. It's him walking into something around here. And if this doesn't scream corporate meme, I don't know what does. It's corporate meme.
They just
Does
cut
this
out.
color think he's Mr. Rogers? What's going on here?
I don't know.
I'm
He's
confused.
Gay. He's gay. Who cares? But they're trying to pretend that there's some sort of grassroots love for this character. All the Yord stuff. All Yord. They made it up. This is corporate.
What the heck is Yord?
His
That's
character.
his character's name.
That's
I
his
call
name.
him.
His
Yeah.
diehard fans call themselves the Yord Horde.
Yeah. Within a day, suddenly the Yord Horde existed within 24 hours.
And
Has
they've got
he
a
done
Yord
anything
Horde.
in the show that would constitute fandom?
He has black hair. Like,
Oh, got
modern black hairstyle.
Yes, the half dread
Mhm.
over the side
yeah.
garbage.
I mean,
But
you'll know
yeah,
him as
they
guy who
had
thinks.
merch for the Yord Horde ready to go the day after the show.
Yeah, instantly.
There's no way
Yeah.
that wasn't corporately sponsored.
Every fake account meme was using the same cutout with not even a good cutout of his head on everything. They had these special Yord Horde membership card memes ready to go, and they've made it for everyone. It's corporate meme, and that shows you what's going on here. This whole entire thing is corporate based. It's all corporate based. There is no actual love for this, which now brings us to the last topic of today. And now we'll go back to when we put a pin in it to what Drew was talking about earlier. Is Star Wars dead? Or is Disney Star Wars dead? See, I put a dividing line. There's real Star Wars that ended in 2012, and there's been Disney Star Wars for the past 12, nearly 13 years now. Anytime one of these things happens, and things by things I mean these Disney Star Wars shows that drop, the phrase rolled out there: Star Wars is dead. Now we've seen the actual numbers. It is these shows are DOA. Nobody watches them. The merch doesn't move. You have, as I showed you that for a reason, fake propaganda, meme culture created by a corporation. That's zombie behavior. That's Disney Star Wars. It is dead. Whenever real Star Wars gets embraced, whenever it comes up, whenever somebody discovers the EU for the first time, oh man, the hype is real again. Whenever somebody goes back and watches the movie, if they haven't become apathetic or black-pilled, the love surges. I've had people who have been, whenever they're a new guest on Drive-In, if you guys have seen the intro I put together for Drive-In, it opens with clips from Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, with Yoda monologuing my ally is the Force. And then Luke says, I'm a Jedi like my father before me, that kind of stuff. So there. Whenever somebody says that, they will say to me at some point, oh man, I want to go watch some Star Wars now. Seeing real Star Wars will always light the fire. You always want to do it. And as somebody who blackpilled, I've told the story over and over again, so I've tell it again for this purpose. When Disney bought Star Wars, George sold it. When they threw out the EU is when I blackpilled. When Force Awakens came out and I saw everybody wetting themselves, loving it, I blackpilled. I almost threw everything on these shelves out. Almost threw it all out. This close. Instead, I boxed it up and just got it out of sight because the fiscal person that I am couldn't throw out hundreds of dollars of books. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
That's
So
the Jew in you, Adam. That's the Jew in you.
You're not wrong. I just had to get it out of sight. Getting out of sight worked. But then 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Wait, 14? No. Yeah, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Almost 6 years because it was into 19. It was almost 6 years before I clawed my way out of the black pill. And it was only because I realized that The Last Jedi happened and broke open all of this. It was more 18. More 18 than 19. More 18 than 19. But it happened and it broke. It woke everybody up. And then suddenly, everybody was saying what I was saying all these years ago. And somebody said, a former friend of mine said to me, Adam, one day people are going to come to where you are. They're going to realize that this is shit, and they're going to go to the EU. They're going to go to Star Wars, and they're going to be on your side. I said, no, look at this. They're slobbering this shit. They love it. They're buying into it. I am a man. I am a nation unto myself. I am an island unto myself. I have no allies in this. I'm going to just walk away. I can't look at this shit, can't watch it, nothing. But then there we were. And then I found YouTube and all that stuff. I found what was once the Fandom Menace when it was the Fandom Menace before it became not the Fandom Menace, and people shouting this out. And I clawed my way back out. And I could watch it and read it and realize I'm okay again. And I can see real Star Wars for what it is. Understand, real Star Wars isn't dead. But then Disney Star Wars started to die. So then I put it here. Is there a difference? Because a lot of people in the past week now, episode 3 of Acolyte was a real thing for a lot of people who are honestly, they're not just saying it for their throwaway line. Star Wars is dead. And they mean it. I know they mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've heard them say it, and I talked to Jed about this in private already. They see no difference because they can't separate it for themselves, either because of Disney or the behavior of people like Mark Hamill or even George to some extent, and other people involved in it. They see no difference. Is there a difference? Am I just fooling myself when I say there's real Star Wars that is still alive because when people get involved with it, they're happy, or Disney Star Wars, which is DOA, and we show the sampling every week when we look at the stands with these little weirdos who think it's great, who think Bad Batch is the greatest thing in the world, and Dre watched it and can tell us it isn't. They think it's awesome. Am I the one fooling myself? Am I?
So this is what I will say. I will say that culturally, Star Wars and Disney Star Wars are different things. I would say that culturally, 110%. I don't think that's debatable. Culturally, two different things. But as far as the franchise as a whole and why people loop it all together, which especially those that are not casual fans, the people that are just casual, yeah, the casuals, they're going to loop it all together because they don't understand the line of demarcation of the differences. And to their credit, that's fair, because Disney Star Wars in its original concept was a continuation of what was. That was the original concept. And that is what people bought into. The people bought into, oh, this is still more of the stuff that I loved when I was a kid and whatever. Now that they have been betrayed thoroughly, without question, they've been betrayed. They are now associating what was before and what is now all as one entity. So from that standpoint, yes, all of Star Wars technically is dead. Now, culturally, for those of the initiated, the ones that's been here for decades, we know the difference. I can still sit back and enjoy old Star Wars products. I can go back and pick up Battlefront whenever I feel like it and have a good time. I can go back and watch the first 6 movies and have a great time. I can go and play all those old games or read EU books or get the graphic novels and just have the time of my life. 110%. But as far as its impact, as far as what it is as an entity, as a whole, no longer exists in its entirety. So, Adam, what I would say, I won't say that you're not fooling. I won't say that you're fooling yourself, because once again, you're not conflicted. You just want to hold on to what was good, even though what is good is literally in front of our very eyes, attempting to be erased in front of us.
Yes,
it's attempted to be erased in front of us. They're literally telling us all the things you believed in for decades. No, this is just how it really works. And then there's an outright rejection, as it should be. So no, you're not losing your mind. It's everyone else has gone crazy. Everyone else has gone crazy. The Disney Star Wars entity itself has polluted the original Star Wars. But for those of us that are saturated in it, love what Star Wars was, we can still enjoy old Star Wars. It's just like the Doctor Who fans. Like, there's plenty of good Doctor Who over the decades that they've enjoyed. The first, second, third, fourth, five, whatever, how many doctors there are before things went off the rails. That content still exists for those folks to enjoy. Now, granted, Doctor Who as an entity is most definitely dead. The principle remains the same. We just put the line of demarcation of what was good, and we enjoy that. And the stuff that's hot garbage, leave it on the curb and let that girl stargaze from outside. And that's just the way it is. And that's my thoughts. That's
Because as Jed and I's first ever collaboration was talking about this type of thing, and we talked about it, the dividing line. George Lucas involved Star Wars versus not Disney. And Jed, we came to the conclusion way back then, a couple years ago, that there was a separation. And this many years later, is like Dre said, is it still legitimate to say that there's George Lucas Star Wars and there's Disney Star Wars, and one can still be alive while the other, to Dre's point, has murdered the franchise as a whole?
So yeah, all these franchises, including Star Wars, still have that line of demarcation. I love how Dre put it like that, and that's going to be true forever. There's still going to be diehard fans like us who can still love what came before. But I don't think the ideas are mutually exclusive, where there is that line of demarcation, but as a brand, it's pretty well dead, because pretty much anyone who's going to be driven to the EU by bad Disney Star Wars, it's already happened. The Acolyte isn't anything new. It's not going to really generate any new EU fans, because anyone who was going to be driven to the EU by bad Disney stars, it would have happened long ago. So there's just not a whole lot of influx of new fans, even for the good stuff, unless it's, the upcoming generation, but they're always going to trickle in with the younger people getting old enough and getting introduced to it by their parents and whatnot. But I do think that even though as fans, as diehards, we can make the distinction, but also admit that these franchises aren't relevant anymore on the broader scale of things with the casual fans, that it is dead in a totalitarian sense. Is Star Wars as a brand is meaningless at this point. We're still going to love it. We can still say the quality ended here for all these franchises, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not dead at the same time. So Doctor Who, even if, with Russell T Davies coming back, he was the one person we thought who could, bring it back, at least initially. So there's no one really for Doctor Who who can come back and get people interested in the franchise again. And George, I don't even know if he's capable of if he came back and made a Star Wars movie, I don't know if even that could resurrect the franchise.
It wouldn't.
And if that's the case, then it really is truly dead.
It wouldn't, because, this is what I always say. And the chat knows it. I've even seen them repeat it today in this conversation. For the 30 years that George was in control of Star Wars, the head of Lucasfilm, the head of LucasArts, the head of all that stuff, he created the world, the universe, and he oversaw it. All those books right there were written by other people, but he still directed the themes, the ideas, said you can't do this, you can do that. He still had his fingers in the pie. And that's why I will always say real Star Wars is the EU, because George was involved. He may have had a love-hate relationship with the EU. We all know that. He may have talked out of both sides of his mouth, criticized, then love it. That's just George has always changed his opinion 5 minutes after he had it. That's just George Lucas. And we love him for it. We understand it, and we'll yell at him about it every damn time. But it was involved. It has his fingerprints all over it. After 2012, George has no involvement. And even when he was involved, as I said, he didn't make everything there. Other people did it with the spirit of George Lucas's vision. Disney has never done that. They started with the biggest con artist in current day Western entertainment, J.J. Abrams. Jar Jar was and always will be a con man. Never can sort of start something, never finish it. Never make it, never put meat into it. Never has true vision, always copying other people. And then they went to Rian Johnson, who's just a retard. And then back to JJ. And now we've had the rise of Dave Filoni, which really was. He was there with George, but George kept him on a leash. Even on the leash, Dave still fucked things up. But while off the leash, Dave really fucked things up. Really
Leave Clone
messed
Wars
up.
alone, Adam. Don't you dare.
I will piss all over it and drive it into the ground with the boot of my heel every damn time. Except for Mortis arc. You can keep the Mortis arc. But Dave Filoni, when he took over Rebels, his first project after that, oh man, did he destroy everything. Everything after every single project. They call him the chief creative officer now. He was always in charge of all this shit at Disney Star Wars. They just made it official last year. And now we've heard the last couple of weeks his mentorship with Leslie Headland. The whole thing has been done under Dave Filoni's vision of Star Wars, which has always been to undo everything George did so that his versions, his characters, Ahsoka, the clones, they can be the center of everything. Baby Yoda, goddamn Grogu. And no, Jon Favreau is not your friend and not your savior. Never was. Didn't care either. None of these people did anything in the vision of George Lucas, let alone with George saying, okay, I want to do this. Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's fine. None of that happened. None. And all under the direction of Kathleen Kennedy, who hated everything both George and Steven Spielberg ever did, because all she did for 40 years was fetch coffee.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what she was doing.
It was her husband who was the mover and the shaker, not
True.
her.
Yep. She got coffee and didn't even get that right.
Yeah. So
I wanted 3 creams.
Oh, I'm not gonna make that joke. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna make that joke. I'm not gonna make that joke. Anyways, yeah, but that's the thing though. So George created it, oversaw it when it was good, but after that has nothing to do. So when we say, as rightly put, Trey said, a demarcation, that dividing line, that separation between church and state, there is no Star Wars really without George Lucas. But if, as Jez said, if he comes back, I wouldn't necessarily say that would be a good thing because George didn't actually make Star Wars since the early 2000s.
That's true.
I mean, yeah,
The
Clone
last
Wars
thing he had his hands on, believe it or not, Adam, was Clone Wars. That's the last thing
that's
he
an
touched.
imperfect product.
Agreed.
Very imperfect product.
Agreed.
Well,
but it's the
meanwhile-
best thing that's ever been made since then.
Yeah, but all that stuff there, all these books starting in 1991 with Timothy Zahn all the way to 2012 when Troy Denning wrote Crucible. A lot of brilliant minds created some great Star Wars that George
Agreed.
simply said, you can do this.
Yes, because one thing I'll give George credit for in his earlier days, let me be clear, in his earlier days, he knew how to, dang it, what's that word? Delegate. Boom, there's the word. Delegate after the first Star Wars, because he knew he couldn't direct the rest of the movies with all the creativity thing that he was doing. He knew that he could put his work in the hands of people that actually respected what his words were.
That is the point. It was George knew I got a CD with the final book of the New Jedi Order. A CD came with it and put in there. It had a whole list of interviews with all the authors. And they said in those interviews, when it started, George sat them down, had a little council and said, this is what you do, what you can't do. And they all said, yeah, we would check up with George on doing stuff. He handed it off to people who loved Star Wars. Guys like Troy Denning, guys like Aaron Austin, all those guys there. They got it. They got it. They understood the core of what George wanted to do. And they gave us great Star Wars. But after that, the canon, and they always have to keep saying canon, that canon, because real fans know what the canon is and what isn't. They know. It isn't real Star Wars. But Jed, you said a great word before. The brand is the brand is dead. And that is, I think that is in the end kind of the best definition.
Mm-hmm.
The Star Wars brand is dead.
100%.
Merch doesn't sell. Sometimes some classic merch will sell, but that's really only the hardcore people. And you also said a really great line too, where, and it never occurred to me. So you brought me a new perspective on that. We've had 5-6 years now of Disney Star Wars television.
Has it been that long?
5 years. I think it's 5 years.
Yeah, since Mandalorian season 1 was 2019. Right?
God.
Rise
5
of
years.
Skywalker.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We've had 5 years of that, 5 years of other extraneous stuff put out between the High Republic, some crap, the continuing crap comics, some video games, which some people like, but they're not really real Star Wars.
Baking competition comic book runs.
Yeah. They have put that stuff out there, and what's it done? What's it done? Has it changed anything? What it's done, to Jed's point before in his statement, it drove people away. And in all that time, and again, Jed, I'm giving you were really good to say this. Everybody who was going to go to the EU and move on and go check out real Star Wars, they have done it by now. A majority have done it. Those who didn't, they're, even if they love real Star Wars, they're not going to go do it at this point. They're not going to go read a book. They're not going to go play the extra games. They're not going to read the comics, because apathy had set in, and the problem is now apathy is turning to black pill. Now, as I said, as a black pillar, my former black pillar myself on this stuff, there's no saving somebody once they've gone down into the black pill. Only they can pull themselves out of it, because they don't want to hear what you have to say. They don't want to hear, oh, I can still watch real Star Wars. They don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear, I can still watch Mark Hamill as young Luke Skywalker and be okay. They don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear, I can still watch, I can still read these books. I can still play these games. I can still watch stuff and not think about what Disney Star Wars did in the sequel trilogy. They don't want to hear that. All they hear is, and they just go, no, I can't look at this. All I see is Anakin's story being ruined. All I can see is changes to the Force. All I can see is Han Solo going out like a chump. That's all they can see. All they can see is Kylo Ren coming down the pipeline. All they can see is Leia Poppins. That's all they could see. And that's the unfortunate truth. It's just the unfortunate truth. And if they're ever going to come out of it, they have to do it as I did it. They have to be ready to come out of it. And they might. They might. And when they do come out of it, they will come out of it landing where we have landed. Where like, primarily like Dre was talking about, the way I talk about it. I can go watch this stuff and be happy and have fun. I could be okay. But they got to get there on their own. And I thank you guys, and I gave you guys a heads up notice, so you were ready for this. I didn't drop this on you. Your well thought out points were great. I think there is a way to say real Star Wars isn't dead, but the brand is dead because it doesn't make money. And they don't have the real audience anymore. Because these people on X Twitter, they're fake, and they live in a false reality. They live in a fantasy world, thinking that everything's fine and that it's our fault. The toxic chuds, the nerds, the old boomers who just hate this shit because we're phobes, we're bigots. Anyway, real Star Wars will stay alive, as I always do say, as long as we keep it in our hearts. As long as we hold on to it, collect, protect, and preserve it, they can't take away. That's why they don't want us to have physical media. That's why they don't want us talking about this stuff. And that's why the fake ones, guys like Dan Centralized and Suggs, they'll talk about, I read the book, I read the New Jedi Order, but they don't get it. And they will parade around saying they have it, but they didn't actually read it. They held it up. And they will use it as a prop to say how Disney Star Wars did it better. How Disney Star Wars took these ideas and made it, using Disney Star Wars to crush the idea of real Star Wars. Because that's in the end what they always do. They always use the real stuff created by George and those who believe in George as an excuse to why Disney Star Wars did it better, and use Disney Star Wars to beat it into the ground. All right. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this? Okay, then.
No, I think it's well covered, it's well thought. And Adam, I just want to reassure you, my brother, we will always have real Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. And I'm gonna share this one. I'm glad you said. I'm gonna share this one quick story with you, real quick.
Okay.
So, so there is a family. Me and my wife, we like that. We're really close, and and the young daughter, she's growing up now and everything. And ever since she was a little girl, I always showed her real Star Wars. Ever since she was a little girl. Now she's about to be an adult now, and every year she hosts a quote unquote real Star Wars party. Every year.
That warms my black little nerd heart.
Yeah, every year. So I mean, she does it on May the 4th weekend. Whatever. I'll let her have it. And so I make it my business to show up every single year for her real Star Wars party. And she designs all types of cool stuff from the original trilogy and the prequels. And she says the sequels are not real movies. That is what she says. And so to see that, that even though she's young, but exposing her to real Star Wars, real high quality content does have an impact. So yes, we have those psychopaths out there that are just sitting there doing unspeakable things themselves as the acolyte and all this other nonsense, but they don't understand what real Star Wars is. But we still have a chance to teach this next generation of what real Star Wars is and how they can actually enjoy something that's really good.
Yeah.
So we can't lose complete hope. Now, for the rest of these adults, screw them. But for the kids, there's still a chance. There's still a chance to come around.
And yeah, and I feel sorry for the children, from the people who have children, because they I've seen a lot of social media posts. Oh my God, my kid is walking around and pretending what she sees in the acolyte. It's so great. The haters are wrong. I kind of feel like that's not real, because why would you talk about that on social media like that?
Yeah.
It's
that's
completely staged. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fake.
Right. Anyway,
I love the videos of those people who try to stage their kids like that, but their kids override what they're supposed to do and tell the truth. Like the whole, my favorite one is the Black Ariel one. When the trailer came out, this little black girl is supposed to sit there and told, "Hey, you're gonna love this, right? Tell us how much you love this." And she's like, "That's not Ariel."
Yeah,
kids will tell the truth
because they will tell the truth because there's no filter. They haven't learned to lie yet. At least not unless they're sociopaths. Anyway, real quick, Dre Frazier, 360 for 20 pounds. Thank you, Jay Frazier. Hi, Roundtable. Recommend Pyramids of Mars for drive-in. Not only will you see classic Doctor Who at its prime, but you will see the real Sutekh. I blackpilled on Doctor Who, but once I rewatched it and got Big Finish, my love returned. And that's exactly what we're talking about.
That's it.
You if you blackpill, it's a horrible thing, but you can get out of it if you find the desire to do so. But it can only be found within you. So, and Jay Fraser is exactly where Jed and I am with that. We never blackpilled on the Hog too, but we can go back and still look at the good stuff and feel happy, because
Pyramids of Mars is great. It's from the Tom Baker run, so
I don't know if we can do it for driving because how it's too short, I would say, for.
Well, they're back in Classic Who, they did arcs of episodes, so every story was like 5 20-minute episodes. So it would still equate to roughly a movie's length. So we could do like arcs of Classic Who if we ever decided to, or like 2-parters from New Who, like the Human Nature and the Family of Blood, stuff like that. I feel like we could do that at some point.
I mean, we did do the Christmas special.
We did.
So I mean, it's not out there. So yeah, it's not out of the norm. So, but it's all up to whatever we feel like. We try to do things with drive-in. We get in sort of a rhythm of certain things, and we try to stay in that. Ideas like one of the reasons I chose for next week Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I want to do another time travel type movie, but with time travel that doesn't fuck you in the ear and say take it. And the same thing also, sometimes we'll do certain types of movies and then suddenly go, that's it. I need something stupid. We need something that don't make us think hard. Or the opposite. Okay, let's get a real thinker in here. Let's have a movie where we want to have a serious discussion about characters, plot, well-written stuff. So it really is a mood thing with us when we choose our movies. Or it's I'm gonna get him for making me watch that thing. One of those.
That's might have been what last night was about.
Vengeance will happen. Anyway,
thank you, Jay Fraser.
Well, we said that thing wasn't even for Pride, though. It was before.
I know, it was a joke. A perfectly functional hermaphrodite, I don't think counts as Pride, but
yeah. But anyway, so thank you, Jay Fraser, for the 20 pounds. And with that said, one thing on the way out here, we are done, but I want to give a little preview, because I know that at least a couple of us are going to be watching it. Hot D, House of Dragons season 2 starts tonight. We will be talking about it a little bit next weekend. I'm reviewing it tomorrow. Catch my review tomorrow. So I just want to put it out there. How are we feeling about Hot D2 right now? How are we feeling about this going into everything? Jed, are you gonna watch it? I know you watch
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I'm gonna watch it tonight when Rachel gets home from work. It's the thing where like I enjoyed House of the Dragon season 1. It's not gonna be something that I'm sad if I miss it night of and have to catch up a week or two later. Like it's okay. It's better than 90% of what we have going on, but I think it's severely overrated. So I'm just kind of something to do.
And having just watched season 1 myself to get ready for season 2, I'm with you. I mean, and I will make my case very clear at the beginning of my review tomorrow. I am not. We all know I'm not a Germ guy. I'm not a George R. R. Martin guy. I am not into his style of stuff, but I can recognize that House of Dragon season 1 was well acted, well cast, well produced, well
Absolutely.
scored, and put out there as a good product. So
Absolutely.
you're from me. What you're getting will be a kind of a very objective, down the middle view where I don't really care if it's good or bad. I'm just going to tell you how it looks to me. I mean, Dre, you're going to give House of the Dragon season 2 any time of day?
I didn't even watch the first season.
Okay,
Because I wasn't into Game of Thrones.
neither am I.
Like, so it didn't really translate over for me. Now, once again, just like you, I can recognize that the show put forth a strong effort to give the fans, at least of Game of Thrones, what they wanted. So I tip it to them. But for me, I watched the first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, then I realized that the whole thing was just a long jerk with no finish, and I was like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
And that is so true, because it's never gonna finish.
It's never going to be. But the success of Hot D season 1 cannot be overstated.
No.
After Game of Thrones season 8, everyone thought Game of Thrones as a franchise was done for. There was no
100%.
redeeming it. But Hot D was good enough that people checked it out, and it became a massive success.
Yeah.
At the time when it was coming out, what Rings of Power was bragging about, 8 million people watching overnight, and Hot D was getting like 22 million
20,
overnight.
22, 25 million.
Yeah.
They're doing gangbuster numbers on HBO.
And Jack agrees with me. Matt Smith just chews the scenery, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
He
does an
is the
incredible job.
best thing in that show.
I think one of the biggest problems with Hot D is there's no one to root for. Like neither
That's
the
the
blue,
thing.
neither the blacks or the greens are people you want to relate to. Like in Game of Thrones,
There's-
there's always been bad characters or fun characters, but you could always latch on to Jon Snow and Daenerys at least for a while and say, "I hope they."
They're
succeed.
individuals.
Yeah.
Like, I actually relate to Alicent. She did nothing wrong for her entire life as being forced to marry Viserys. She did nothing wrong, and she's only defending her children. She even hates one of her. She hates one of her kids. She hates Aegon.
She hates
She hates him.
But like the sides, I don't care who wins the war. I legitimately don't care who wins the war. I like individual characters, like you're saying, but the sides.
But as opposed to Rhaenyra's a fucking cow whore. She's a
She'd
horrible
be better.
person.
The younger actress was so much more likable.
Yeah, I mean, Millie Alcock. Millie Alcock was much better than the
instead
they
of
them
Emma Darcy,
who likes to run around as a they them. So Millie Alcock was actually better, but the character of Rhaenyra is horrible. She's horrible. She does nothing but lie, cheat, and steal.
I just want Matt Smith to be on the Iron Throne. That'd at least be entertaining.
That would have been entertaining. But you know, said so. There are people, but I'm with Jed. There's nobody to root for. Because it's George's idea that everybody, when it boils down, all humanity is horrible. That nihilistic view that all humanity is horrible. There's no good in anybody, and even good people get corrupted, or the good people get ganked real quickly, or eventually because they're in the way of the bad people. I don't prescribe to that. I don't like that. So, but I can put that aside and still say it was a well-produced show, and I can see why people liked it. I just think the story is weak. But we'll see with season 2. Now, I know nothing about the lore, and I don't have to, because Jerm has said the book is not the definitive. The show's definitive. So whatever the show says is fine. If it doesn't if it didn't happen, if something in the book didn't happen, doesn't matter, because it's what Jerm wants. Anyway, so we'll probably talk about it next weekend. I'll see if I maybe get a guest for it, because Dragon Lady will be absent again next weekend for both this and Acolyte. We'll see what you can pull together. So we will have some fun with that. So we'll have more Acolyte next week. We'll have some Hot D. And because we always want hot D, we don't do well do. I gotta love that acronym, dude. You gotta
It's
love
really
it.
good.
You
It's
gotta
a good
love it.
one.
And you know they did it on purpose.
Oh, without question.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
question. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Well,
Anyway, so
they were whipping it out and dropping it on Rings of Power's
They were
face,
slapping it in the face. Just
That's fair.
slap in the face. Deservedly so. Anyway, so that's it. We are done. And real quick, I see it there. Alpha Omega for $2. Thank you. Do we take movie recommendations for drive-in? We will hear what you guys have to say, and we will log it mentally, I'm sure. But if you don't have to super chat it to us, just say you if you keep reminding us, and maybe at some point we can do a fan thing. You know, you guys can we'll arrange something where you guys can have your voices heard, and maybe I don't not maybe contest is the wrong word, but kind of put something up there where you guys
there or something,
maybe if a lot of you guys get together and agree on enough things, we can put a list and you guys can vote on it, and a fan driven choice selection,
like once a quarter or something.
Something like that. Yeah, that sounds like
a fan pick or something like that.
Yeah, we're not against that, because hey, we do this for you. We do this to entertain you. Hopefully we entertain ourselves, but we do this so you guys have something to enjoy that isn't us ranting and raving about the agenda crap. Now, of course, yes, we ranted and raved about Predestination, but that's because Jed wanted me to. So,
and there were still things to positively discuss with that film.
Yeah, as a thing. But you go watch it; it's still up. It will be up. So yeah. So thank you all for making for $2, and yeah. So we'll arrange that. Maybe not for the summer. Maybe for the fall. We'll institute that for the first time this fall, because actually no, wait. Actually, you know what? It's a good opportunity, since starting in August, driving goes on hiatus because of Rings of Power.
Sure.
During Rings of Power, we'll create a system for you guys to submit your suggestions, and we'll create a system we'll filter out. And then when drive-in returns after Rings of Power, it'll be a fan choice drive-in for the first back. How's that sound, Jed? You okay with that?
Yeah, no, that sounds like fun. As long as we make sure they're not trying to torture us or something like that. Like,
no movie from 1992. None of that shit. None of that shit.
1992 space movie or whatever.
Yeah, none of that. It has to be something legitimate. So whether it's a show that has multiple parts that could be put into like a 2-hour thing, or a movie, but nothing that we can't legitimately talk about. So
which room, Alpha or Omega? The Brie
there
Larson one or the crazy 90s one?
Yeah, there are two. But
neither of them I really want to watch.
Me neither. But that's the thing. We'll put in your hands. So starting after Rings of Power, once we're done with Mordor Country, you guys will give you once a quarter. We'll put it in your hands, and because technically we'll be starting. We'll have very little time left in fourth quarter when we get to the ends of Rings of Power, because it's going to run through August, September, October. So I guess when we come back end of October, early November, it'll be you guys. So there you go. All right. So that we'll give you time. You'll have like 2 months we'll give you like a month to submit your suggestions, and then we'll figure out a way for then either us or a combination of us and you to vote on it. We'll figure something out. We'll start talking about it now. We'll workshop it. Don't worry. But there it is. See, we interact with our audience. We give them what they want, and if they want to make us suffer within reason, we'll let them do it. All right. With that, we are going to be done for the week. So let's say our farewells and be on our way. Jed, what's coming up this week?
Well, you can all find me on YouTube and Kick at Hollywood Scholar, just regularly scheduled reviews and live streams, including this Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the final episode of this season of Doctor Who, Empire of Death, where supposedly all our questions are going to be answered. I guarantee you, only some of them will be, and none of them will be, climactic or fulfilling in any way, shape, or form. And then, of course, the other streams I do with Adam that he'll talk about.
And we do guarantee that Ruby Sunday will save the world. She'll save everything.
They teased that at the end of the credits. They basically told you that she's the key to everything.
Yep. So we guarantee that. Dre, what's going on this week?
Yeah, so we got another lineup of some good vids coming this week. A lot of good independent comic book creators on the Brutal Planet Comics YouTube channel. Lot of good stuff. So it's going to be a pretty good week on that channel. Also on my second channel, The Brute Plays, I'll be dropping some more Pokemon videos. I've been doing a lot of battles. A lot of people have been challenging me, and that's getting out of control. But whatever. So yeah, so that's going to be a whole lot of fun. So definitely check out my secondary channel at The Brute Plays, and follow me on Twitter, X, whatever, at The Brute00, and Instagram at The Brute00. Hit me up, holla at me anytime.
All right. As for myself, we're starting a week off a little differently. No Mellow Mondays tomorrow night because I got to go to bed like a good little boy because I got to get up on Tuesday to do something I was supposed to do on Thursday, but shit kept me up all night, so I didn't get any sleep, so I couldn't go do it. So I got to go do that on Tuesday. But rest of the week, tomorrow, though, as I said, you will get my review of House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 1. I'm not sure what to call it. I want to call it my non-fan review, but I'm afraid that's going to turn people away. So I don't think I want to put that in the title, but that's essentially what it is. I'm not a real fan, but I can give you an objective review. So check that out. Probably, I would say, some point tomorrow afternoon because I'm not going to watch it till tomorrow morning. So it's all fresh and ready. Rest of the week, Wednesday is Acolyte Episode 4 review. Catch that in the afternoon. Throughout the week, who knows what's going to happen in terms of topics. So stay tuned for those. On my gaming channel, Renaissance Nerd Arcade. If you go to the main channel here, though, because I can't do it on that channel because I don't have enough subs, go to the community tab. There's currently a poll running on what game you want me to play on the channel next due to a whole Dragon Age Veilguard stuff, which we didn't talk about today, but it is out there. I felt like maybe play some Dragon Age Origins or some Knights of the Old Republic. So there is a poll. Choose one of two, KOTOR 1 or Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Origins has a decisive lead at the moment, but I'm going to leave it up for a little while longer because I don't have quite the time to sit down and set it up because I have to get the PS3. I got to set it up around here somewhere, and then I got to go dig out the game from a box in the closet. So I need a little more time. And also, I don't have the time to sit down and do the game at the moment, but it would be maybe a twice-a-week session. We're not going to burn through. We're going to casually play it, have a little fun, but vote on that because your vote will dictate what I play next on the channel. And it's going to be retro. It's just your choice which kind of retro. As for everything else, as I said, we got the reviews. Friday, Ballbusters, 11 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, I think it's still going to be normal time. We're still checking out because there's a time difference with our guest. Dermy and I are doing Anime Odyssey a week early because Dermy wants to cover political stuff next Thursday, the following Thursday with the debate. So we're doing it a week early. Anime Odyssey, Season 1. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Oh, it's so good. And our guest is Legal Mindset. Will be joining us. He's on the other side of the world, so we got to line up our hours, make sure we're okay. Dermy will let me know in the next couple of days. I will let you know exactly. So join us, Anime Odyssey, this Thursday for Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in Dungeon? And other topics, of course. And then we'll be back here for Saturday Night Drive-In at the normal time, 6 p.m. Eastern, where Jed and I will be watching Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Ooh.
Yes. Good. Good
For the
movie.
historical record, Jed, you've seen that one.
Yes,
right?
and I love
Okay.
it.
Okay.
It's been unique at a time we
Yeah.
both watch something and already go into enjoying it.
Yeah, so we got a good
I'm
one.
not as fond of the time travel mechanics as Adam is, but I do.
Well, no, I'm
love
not
that
so
movie.
fond. They just it's easier to work with them than that. But we can have a real.
It
time
is
travel
easier than
discussion.
predestination.
Yeah. We can have a real discussion, not just F this thing. What the hell is this? No, we can have a real discussion. That's a legitimate discussion to have. Terminator 2 time travel mechanics. So join us for that. And then, as Jed said, right after that, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we will be watching the season finale of Doctor Who with Shooty Gatwa cosplaying Doctor Who. Join us for Doctor Who Cares reviews, where Dermy, Jed, and myself, along with our guest for the finale, Bradley Burnett, Duke Devil, he will be joining us as we break down Empire of the Dead, where we're guaranteed, as Jed said, to get barely any answers, but Ruby Sunday will save the world. And then we'll return. God damn it. We'll return here at 2 p.m. Eastern on Sunday for another roundtable where we hope to see you. So thank you, one and all, including maybe some new people who've joined the channel, found us. We thank you, one and all, for being here. We appreciate your support because without your support, we can't do this. You guys are what keep us going. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channels in the links below, and we'll see you guys next week. Until then, take it easy. Have a good night or day wherever you may be.